What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, I'm Simone from the blog simplybysimone.com, and I'm your designated oversharer when it comes to all things fashion, beauty, recipes, blogging. I am your open book, and today I'm sharing how to edit your photos and give them that really cool vintage effect. We're gonna cover the yellow text that everybody loves. We're gonna cover grain, how to make your photos look grainy, and we're also gonna cover kind of the features that really give your photos an overall more vintage vibe. So I'm gonna show you here how I went from this to this, back to this. I hope. So I recently downloaded an Adobe program. It's Premiere Rush. And if you saw a few videos back, I'll link it down below. I actually normally use the app InShot to edit most of my videos here on YouTube. But I hope this goes well. It should be a way where when I do videos like this that I could split the screen. So hopefully I could just edit all this talking out because it'll actually be there right here where I want it. So I'm gonna show you how to edit your photos today. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start screen recording so that you guys could see exactly what I do. But I've gone ahead and uploaded my image into the Lightroom app. The Lightroom app is kind of always my favorite place to start. I use it on my phone more than my computer, and it's quick, easy, and I highly recommend using this app, and it's the only way I know how to teach you guys. So if you wanna do this, you have to download the app. So I went ahead and uploaded my video, my image, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna crop it to a 4x5 Instagram size, and I'm gonna actually, I think, zoom in just a pinch, just so I lose a little bit of that white space on the side. And I'm going to, I already edited this, so I'm gonna paste the edits on top of it so that we can kind of just work backwards. So I think it'll be a little bit easier for me to explain to you because I'm not a professional photographer. I'm just kind of here sharing my tips on how to achieve this antique vintage vibe on your photos. So for this photo, I did make it a little bit brighter. You could see I bumped it up to 0.52. Contrast is going to be a key component in making your photos look more vintage overall. The more contrast you have is going to make your blacks blacker and your whites whiter. So there's more of a variance in between black and white. When you pull the contrast down, it basically takes away some of that detail in between the black and white. Your whites become a little bit less bright, your blacks also a little less bright. It makes it look, again, overall, just like less clear and a little bit more like you'd see a vintage photo. It's just not as sharp. Always gonna pull the contrast down when I'm trying to achieve that antique vintage aesthetic. Highlights are what makes your whites or anything bright washed out. So if you've ever, I pushed the shadows up on this just because it was dark and I did really wanted to, again, enhance that differentiation between the black that's not so black and the white that's not so white. But you, depending on your photo, you might not have to push the shadows up. And for color, I made this photo a little bit cooler just because, as you could tell, it is very warm, and I just didn't want my photo, my overall Instagram feed is not very warm. So temperature, yellow is gonna make your photo warmer, blue is gonna make it cooler. Purple and green, I just always play with a little just to see, again, what my photo needs. Saturation is going to be another key item that is going to give you a photo with an overall vintage feel. When you think about kind of like old magazines and old photos, they're not crisp, they're not they're not vibrant. So to mimic that, what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull down your saturation and you're gonna pull down your vibrance. Camera quality wasn't good back in the day. You know, we had like all these really high def cameras, and it's really funny to me that we get these like 4K video and, you know, these great lenses for our cameras, and then we want our photos to look vintage. But it makes for the perfect scenario to make a vintage photo because we could really play around with all these little details. So saturation and vibrance are going to be two other key items that are going to make your photo look more vintage. So just bump those down a little bit. Again, you want to do that by eye. Clarity we could also pull down a little bit. Again, like I said, old photos, not so clear. They kind of have that dust and that, what is that really? What's her face look like? Kind of vibe going to them. Grain is going to be the fourth component that is really going to make your photo shine in a vintage way. So I'm going to pull it down to show you what it looks like. It's very flat, and then I'm going to bump it back up, and you're going to see how grainy it looks. So I like to keep it in a diagonal, just like so, and I bump the green up just about a little under halfway. Size is going to be the size of like those little granules, so it kind of like pixelates your photo a little bit in a way. And then roughness is going to make the green more apparent. So if you don't have a lot of roughness, see, it almost goes back to looking like there's no green. It almost makes it look even less greeny, and more roughness is going to help you achieve a very grainy look. So there is another app that you could add green in your photos to, and I think I'm going to add this as maybe an IGTV kind of bonus this week. So if you're interested in an app that does the green for you, I'm going to share that on my IGTV this week. All right, so the next thing we are going to do is we're going to put that super cool yellow text on top of this photo. So you guys know I love the InShot app, and I edit almost all my YouTube videos with that app. I am going to use the InShot app again, and what I'm going to do is pull my photo in there, and we're gonna just change the canvas size, and I'm gonna go to text, just like that, and I'm going to say, YouTube editing video demo. I'm gonna make it smaller. I'm gonna pull it down, and you see I kind of the text is already in there just because that's the last one I used, but it's Helvetica New. And the color is this color palette. So there's 3 different color palettes you could choose from in the InShot app. It's this last bottom one here. And the yellow color I use is this light, I guess I used the darker yellow. You could use the darker yellow or the lighter yellow. Oh, I think I like the lighter yellow for this one. But, and then, so that's your text color, and your border color is just gonna be black. And I changed the opacity down to 79%, but now since I'm using that lighter yellow, I think I'm gonna bump it up just a little bit. So that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and save that. And all right, the last step for giving your photo that perfect vintage look is going to be adding some dust. I mean, who doesn't love dust on their photos? Totally normal. I love it too, and I'm going to use the app Afterlight. For some reason, it doesn't let me screen record in the app, so I don't know if they're like really smart and they don't want you sharing this stuff or what. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna open up my image in the app, and I'm gonna go to this little square on the bottom that's like is half shaded. That's where all of your edits are going to be. And I'm just gonna hit that. They have other things. I don't pay for the full version, so I don't have that instant film or wander one, but the dusty feature is free. And I like numbers 5 and 6. So I'm gonna just hit number 6, and I'm gonna bring it down just a little bit. I kind of play with it differently on all my photos. It just depends on how dusty you want it to be. So I went ahead, I'm gonna hit the check, and I'm gonna save it, and that's it. There are other really great dust options. There are different light leak options. Again, if you want kind of those super cool photos that have like the orange, like the flash going through them, like a really old like 90s camera. So yeah, those are my tips for editing your photos to make them look more vintage. I hope you guys like this video. If you want to chat or you need anything, my email is always down below in the description box. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, and if you want, also drop a comment on what you want me to share next. If it's for photos, videos, blogging tips, anything, I am your open book, and I will see you next time.